African Americans. The court's decision in a case regarding the University of North Carolina and Harvard University. Both institutions considered race as a factor that Asian students say left them out. The court did not call out so-called legacy admissions, which tend to favor wealthy whites.
For the Supreme Court to do away with affirmative action and at the same time allow these backdoor discriminatory policies to continue is shameful.
That is Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro condemning the Supreme Court for not knocking down the so-called legacy admission. He's among the Democrats resoundingly speaking out against the bombshell decision. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the ruling has put a giant roadblock in our country's march toward racial justice. He said students of color will face an admission cycle with fewer opportunities to attend the same colleges that their parents and older siblings did. New Jersey Senator African-American Cory Booker called the 6-3 ruling a devastating blow to the education system.
The Republicans praising the decision, including black Republican running for president, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott.
This is the day where we understand that being judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin, is what our Constitution wants.
More Republicans seeing this as a good thing for America. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said students will now be able to compete based on equal standards and individual merit. He said the decision will make the process fairer. Former Vice President Mike Pence also pleased, saying the court put an end to this egregious violation of civil and constitutional processes.
And we have reaction from the NAACP National President and CEO Derek Johnson. He said, worst of all, one of the justices voting to end affirmative action is black Justice Clarence Thomas.
They created a Clarence Thomas who benefited from the program and now is in a position where he's going to deny many young African-American talented individuals an opportunity.
The Supreme Court ruled the admissions programs violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The vote on the North Carolina case was 6-3, while the decision on the Harvard case is 6-2, with one justice recusing themselves. The decision means colleges will have to look at other factors for admission. Coming up within the hour, I speak with FAMU International Law Professor Jeremy Levitt, who will break down more on what this ruling means, how it reverberates across our education, and the effect it could have on HBCUs as our extended coverage continues. I'm Vanessa Tyler with Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
This is a BIN Tech Report. It's been 30 years since the World Wide Web arrived. And yes, internet use, broadband, and smartphone ownership has grown rapidly for nearly all Americans, even those who are not doing great financially. But the digital divide between lower and higher income Americans is still there. According to the Pew Research Center, 3 out of 10 adults making $30,000 a year don't own a smartphone. More than 4 out of 10 don't have broadband services or standard computer, and a majority of lower-income Americans do not own tablets. On the other hand, adults in households earning $100,000 or more a year have all of these. This also causes the homework gap, the gap between school-age children who have access to high-speed internet and those that don't. There are those that have pledged to bring high-speed internet to low-income homes, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm Keon Williams on the Black Information Network. When you need to know.
This is where Black news comes first. The Bay Area's BIN 910. I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News, San Francisco's BIN 910. The University of California system is responding to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that overturns affirmative action at colleges and universities. In a statement, African-American UC President Michael Drake said, "We are disappointed in the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to bar the use of race in college admissions." Drake added that student diversity remains a top priority at the University of California. He said attracting, supporting, and retaining a diverse student body leads to better quality instruction and educational outcomes, significant community benefits, and overall fairness. Governor Gavin Newsom is doubling the number of state police officers in San Francisco as the city continues to try to stop fentanyl dealing. The move comes after Newsom deployed the California Highway Patrol to help SFPD in extra enforcement operations last month in the Tenderloin and South of Market neighborhood. Newsom is sending additional California Highway Patrol officers and California National Guard members. A spokesperson for Newsom says 7 to 10 CHP officers have been working on the operation since May, and that will increase from just over a dozen to up to 20 officers a day. And in nearby Santa Clara, they say the war on fentanyl is fought on two fronts. According to NBC Bay Area, that was one of the key messages Thursday from local Mexican authorities, trying to stress what their country is doing to battle the opioid epidemic. This as a dire warning is issued from local leaders that the fentanyl crisis could skyrocket the arrival of summer.
We worry that during that time we're going to see more use of fentanyl in our community.
Fentanyl deaths jumped 41% last month in Santa Clara, and officials report 7 more overdose deaths have been recorded this month. The Council General of Mexico in San Jose joined California leaders in expressing what worries her.
It's really a concern for us, and we have been starting to spread the voice about this terrible impact of the consumption of these pills.
She says Mexico is collaborating with the United States to detain those traffickers, but it's important also to focus on consumption and distribution here as fatal overdoses spike. And as we wrap up Black Music Month, how about an oldie but a goodie by the late rap icon Tupac Shakur?
When I was young, me and my mama had me 17 years old, kicking out on the street. So back at the time, I never thought I'd see a fight. Ain't a woman alive that can take my mama's place.
Tupac spent most of the 1990s in Oakland, where the influences of other San Francisco area artists are said to have had a great influence on him. Part of MacArthur Boulevard between Grand Avenue and Van Buren is now named Tupac Shakur Way. Tupac was only 25 years old when he died in 1996. And that's a look at what's happening around the Bay Area. I'm Natasha Williams. I'm your home for 24/7 News, San Francisco's BIN 910.
African-American patients only have a 25% chance of finding a bone marrow match. Make a difference in joining the National Bone Marrow Registry at bethematch.org. That's bethematch.org. The power of information.
Black news here and now.
The Bay Area, BIN 910.
Ernest Bynum Jr. was a prominent figure in Zanesville, Ohio, where he was nicknamed Fireman Ernie. Ernest served in the United States Air Force before moving back to Zanesville and joining the local fire department. During his time as Fireman Ernie, he became a fire arson investigator, an Ohio State Fire Safety Instructor, and the International Association of Firefighters Local 88 President of the Zanesville Fire Department. An entrepreneur with Bynum Trucking and Computer Lifeline Inc. He was a mentor to many young men and women, and after retiring from the fire department in 1993, he served as the city's Parks and Recreation Director for 20 years. He also continued to serve his community through multiple organizations and boards. Ernest Bynum Jr. died on January 2nd, but not without leaving behind a legacy as a trailblazer and a key figure in Zanesville's history. And that's a fact. I'm Frankie Darcel on the Black Information Network.
Call the Black Information Network hotline and let us know what's happening in your community. 855-500-9BIN.
Telling our story.
We celebrate freedom because of those in the past who paved the way.
24/7. The Supreme Court has declined to impose new limits on state courts reviewing certain election-related issues.
If it matters to the black community.
Black residents in Chicago, Illinois have a new home buyers program that provides $20K to make buying a home accessible.
It's on the Black Information Network. The Bay Area's BIN 910 and on the iHeartRadio app.
The season we've been waiting for is back. It's finally summer. Time to get together with friends and family, kick back and relax. And CVS is proud to support the black communities we serve by providing easy access to the products and services you need for a healthy summer. CVS carries a wide selection of the most popular vitamins and supplements from brands like Nature's Bounty, Ollie, and Nature Made. plus the everyday health and wellness essentials you use all year long, from digestive health and immune support to sleep support and hydration. Wherever summer takes you, bring along your prescriptions. By creating a CVS.com account, you can keep up to date with your important medications. Plus, easily connect with the board-certified Minute Clinic provider by requesting a virtual care visit at MinuteClinic.com from pretty much anywhere you go. Don't miss out on any of what this summer has to offer. Find what you need to stay healthy all season long and beyond at CVS.com.
For when news breaks,
And where black news comes first.
Now available to buy or rent. Big George Foreman is the powerful story of the legendary boxer's life, inside and outside the ring. With a 97% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, we spoke with star Chris Davis about his approach to playing George Foreman at every stage of his career.
Oh, I mean, as an actor, this is a dream role, I think, for anyone. It's what you always imagine you'll be able to do on the big screen, is a character that has so many different levels, so many different nuances, that is multifaceted, that covers the span of several decades, because it stretches you, it challenges you to perform at your highest capabilities. And you don't know if you can do it until you do it. I felt an immense amount of responsibility because this is Mr. George Foreman. He's an icon. He is a legend for so many of us. And I didn't want to get the story wrong. The story has never been told before. So I felt like, hey, this is my one chance to do my very best at telling this story.
Chris Davis says one of the challenges of playing Foreman was matching the boxer's athleticism in the ring.
I would say his boxing style was very difficult to play because it's very specific, but also it's very stylistic. He's a technician in the ring, and people didn't realize that. So even me learning that, it wasn't just me going in throwing the widest punches that I could muster. I had to really understand where it was coming from. I had to understand how good a boxer he was before he decided to throw those wide punches, those wide heavy punches. It was intense. There's really, I keep trying to put it into words, what it took to do it. I think it just really took everything that I had. It took everything mentally, it took everything physically. Getting into shape is hard enough. Doing a boxing film is hard.
Don't miss the knockout true story with a 97% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Big George Foreman, rated PG-13. Now available to buy or rent.
The power of information.
black news here and now.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
Here's what's trending on the Black Information Network. Colleges and universities are reacting to the affirmative action ban and also may not be lost as the Biden administration is plotting a new course to offer student loan borrowers relief. Keep listening for more. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network.
Sports on the Black Information Network.
4 NFL players are out of luck. Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry of the Indianapolis Colts and free agent Demetrius Taylor were suspended indefinitely through at least the 2023 season for betting on NFL games. In addition, Tennessee Titans offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Ferret has been suspended 6 games for betting on other sports at the workplace. The 4 suspensions were announced by the NFL. Indianapolis has waived both Rodgers and Berry as a consequence of their suspensions. The NFL recently announced that it planned to reinforce its gambling policy to players. The 6 key rules are: don't bet on the NFL, don't gamble at your team facility, while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel, don't have someone bet for you, don't share inside information, don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season, and don't play daily fantasy football. This comes at the same time the NCAA has released new sports wagering guidelines. The organization says the punishment handed down to student athletes will be based on the violation. Players who bet on their team, provide inside information, or influence the outcome of a game due to sports betting could face a permanent loss of collegiate eligibility. Players who place a bet on a different school could lose up to half a season of eligibility. Other violations would depend on how much they bet. Student athletes remain banned from sports gambling of any kind. Sports at 14 and 44 minutes past each hour. I'm Morgan Wood on the Black Information Network. The DC comic book and movie franchise Wonder Woman features the story of a beautiful Amazon superhero warrior.
And once they finally destroy Ares, the German army will be free from its influence.
Did you know there was also a black Wonder Woman Well, created by writer Don Heck, her name was Nubia, and she made her comic book debut in 1973 as DC Comics' first black superhero. Similar to Wonder Woman, Nubia has super strength, magical weaponry, and comes from a floating island where her family rules. Wonder Woman and Nubia met for the first time in a special DC Comics issue, and the two battled in combat before becoming friends. In 1975, actress Teresa Graves was scheduled to play a black female superhero in the Wonder Woman TV series that was based on the Nubia character, but the character was never written into the TV script. DC Comics reintroduced Nubia to readers in the early 2000s, and they finally bring her to the big screen in the Wonder Woman movie franchise. And that's a fact. I'm Big Sue for the Black Information Network.
Our news, available anywhere. Tell your smart device to play the Black Information Network station on iHeartRadio.
Entertainment news on the Black Information Network. We're celebrating 50 years of hip-hop and the culture it has created. Hip-hop has expanded several of its top artists into household names, not only for music, but acting as well. The 90s and early 2000s saw a great run of rap stars take over the big and small screen. Among the most notable who've had success is Will Smith. He is one of the best rapper-turned-actor stories in the world of entertainment. A successful music career led to Smith having a television series built around him that was loosely based on his real life. In 1990, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was born and ran for 6 seasons.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
Representing for the ladies, Queen Latifah. She also began acting in the early 90s with smaller roles on movies and in television sitcoms. She was so good, Fox Network and television producer Yvette Lee Bowser created living singles based around Latifah as main character Khadijah James. Some have called the show the original Friends because it focused on a group of black 20-somethings living and surviving in New York. The show ran for 5 seasons. From there, LL Cool J, who was considered by many as a pioneer in hip-hop, turned to acting, landing his own sitcom In the House in 1995. He played the leading role of Marion Hill, a former pro football player who hit some hard times financially. The show started on NBC and wrapped up on the UPN network after 5 seasons. Finally, in 2003, rapper Eve had the starring role in her sitcom of the same name, playing Shelly Williams, a fashion designer in Miami, Florida, struggling in the love department. Her show ran for 3 seasons. With the latest in entertainment, I'm Bree Wood on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
I'm Tariq Lowe with Maybe You Didn't Know. Over the years, we've enjoyed the works of novelist and playwright Alexander Dumas. From The Three Musketeers and The Count of Monte Cristo to The Corsican Brothers and The Prince of Thieves, he is still one of the most widely read French authors. Maybe you didn't know that Alexander Dumas was part black. Marie Cosette Dumas was a slave in the French colony of Saint-Domingue, and she was the grandmother of Dumas. The prolific author died in 1870, no stranger to dealing with racism in his lifetime. In 2002, for the bicentennial of Dumas' birth, French President Jacques Chirac hosted a ceremony in his honor, re-interring his ashes at the mausoleum of the Pantheon of Paris. He was laid to rest alongside colleagues and fellow esteemed authors, Victor Hugo and Émile Zola. Chirac admitted that racism had existed in France and said the reinterment had been a way of correcting that wrong. His novels have been translated into nearly 100 languages and inspired more than 200 motion pictures. I'm Tariq Lowe on the BIN.
Black news impacting your town,
Your world, your voice. Bay Area, BIN 910. I'm Doug Davis.
And I'm Esther Dillard on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
As we've been telling you, the Supreme Court is striking down affirmative action in college admissions. Black Princeton University professor Eddie Glaude says the decision means a step back.
We're going to go back to those classes where you have 1, 2, 3. We're already having a small percentage of black and brown students in elite institutions. That percentage will get even smaller.
The Supreme Court ruled that the university's admissions programs violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The vote on the North Carolina case was 6-3, while the decision on the Harvard case is 6-2, with one justice recusing themselves. The decision means that colleges will have to look at other factors for admissions.
A former African-American prosecutor says the Supreme Court's decision to do away with affirmative action in college admissions could result in fewer black students. Charles Coleman is also a former civil rights attorney. He spoke about it on MSNBC.
We have already seen in California, for example, what it does to a student body to remove race from a factor of admissions. It has not worked out well. We have seen fewer and fewer black students in the UC systems because of the removal of race as a factor.
Coleman went on to explain that race matters because a black student from a non-affluent background can't compete against a more well-off white student when it comes to the application process. Black kids simply don't know the rules of engagement.
The University of California system is responding to the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling that overturns affirmative action at colleges and universities. In a statement, UC President Michael Drake said, "We are disappointed in the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to bar the use of race in college admissions." Drake added that student diversity remains a top priority for the University of California. He said attracting, supporting, and retaining a diverse student body leads to better quality instruction and educational outcomes, significant community benefits, and overall fairness.
Black Voters Matter released a statement on the Supreme Court's decision to ban affirmative action from school admissions. According to a press release, the organization said the decision to strike down affirmative action is a stark reminder of just how flawed the American justice system truly is and serves as a major setback for equal opportunity in higher education. The organization says black leaders must continue to protect the right to vote to ensure that our voices are heard.
Finally, prior to the Supreme Court's decision, Monmouth University released their poll on race relations, and the numbers are somewhat split down the middle for white Americans. Nearly half of all white people polled feel DEI initiatives are not that important, while 50% say it is important. 58% of black Americans say more attention needs to be given to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news affecting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network or the iHeartRadio app, or log on to BINnews.com. If you're on social media, stay connected with the BIN on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network, and catch us on Twitter at BlackInfoNet. I'm Doug Davis, along with Esther Dillard, on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
If you've got a story, we want to know about it. Call the Black Information Network hotline at 855-500-9BIN.
Play the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app. The power of information.
Keeping you up to date on the Black Information Network, the Bay Area's BIN 910. Your money on the Black Information Network.
In recent years, it's become increasingly evident that Generation Z, young adults born between 1997 and 2012, are facing a significant burden of debt. Despite their young age, many Gen Zs are grappling with mounting financial obligations that can significantly impact their future prospects. Here's a couple reasons experts say they're facing so much debt. First, the high cost of education. One of the primary factors contributing to Gen Z's debt explosion is the exorbitant cost of higher education. With college tuition fees increasing at a staggering rate, many young adults are forced to rely on student loans to fund their education. Generation Z has also found themselves entering the job market during times of economic instability. The 2008 global financial crisis created a lasting impact on the job market and economic prospects for many. The subsequent recession, coupled with the recent COVID-19 pandemic, has made it challenging for young adults to secure stable employment. Plus, the cost of living has skyrocketed over the years, leaving many young adults struggling to make ends meet, forcing them to rely more on credit and loans. Money news at 24 and 54 past each hour. I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
The only news that hears you.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
I'm Esther Dillard.
And I'm Doug Davis on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Race is off the table when it comes to considering candidates for college admissions. That comes after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of challenges to the affirmative action programs at the University of North Carolina and Harvard. The High Court ruled that the university's admissions policies were unconstitutional.
And former President Barack Obama is speaking out on the Supreme Court's ruling. In a statement, Obama said affirmative action wasn't perfect, but it allowed generations of students like him and his wife to prove they belonged. He said it's now up to all Americans to give young people the opportunities they deserve. So far, the decision was praised by Republicans and condemned by Democrats.
We benefit from affirmative action. We benefit when we are in schools and universities where our students get to have diversity.
That's Connie Chung Jo with Asian Americans Advancing Justice in Southern California. She told me on the BIN, although it was Asian students at Harvard who launched one of the lawsuits prompting this decision, many in the Asian community do not see the SCOTUS decision as a victory. She says surveys show most Asian Americans support affirmative action because of the benefits of the college experience.
Where our students get to see